Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for this important webinar. My name is Fils-Aimé, and I'll be your host this evening. Before we begin, please note that we'll have a Q&A session toward the end of the webinar. You're welcome to submit your questions at any time using the Q&A feature, and we'll address as many as possible during that segment. For those who may not know me, I am the founder and executive director of Baskètbòl pour Ankadre Lajenès, BAL, a nonprofit organization that uses basketball as a tool to mentor and educate Haitian youth. I'm also the founder and president of Dali Real Productions, a production company that produces documentaries, music videos, and other media projects focused on Haiti. We're honored to convene this conversation with our two co-hosting organizations, ProDev and the Haiti Response Coalition. Both organizations are deeply committed to advancing education, protection, and advocacy for Haitian children and families, both in Haiti and across the diaspora. Tonight's discussion brings together educators, advocates, practitioners to examine how TPS repatriation affects children's education, well-being, and long-term prospects. We're grateful to have you with us for this timely and critical conversation. And now to further introduce our two co-hosting organizations. First, the Haiti Response Coalition, HRC, has for its mission to change impacts and narratives for Haiti through coalition building and collaborative action for a stronger Haiti. The coalition is a community of learning and practice where members actively seek to expand their knowledge, cooperation, and collective action using a human rights approach while connecting needs to existing resources. You can learn more at haitiresponse.org. And now for ProDev. ProDev, short for Fondation Progrès et Développement, was founded in Haiti in 1995 with the mission to provide quality and transformative education to children living in underserved communities by developing, managing, and supporting schools and centers. Today, ProDev advances its mission through three core initiatives: school management and operations, education, and livelihoods. Its work includes school management and monitoring and evaluation, education and emergencies, child protection, school-based projects, teacher training, and practical skills building programs. Together, these initiatives ensure safe and enriching learning environments for children while strengthening educators, families, and communities across Haiti. You can learn more about ProDev at prodevfoundation.org. And now it's my pleasure to introduce ProDev board chair and co-founder, Maryse Penet-Keita, who will share a few opening remarks before we begin our conversation with the panelists. Before dedicating herself to education and social development, Maryse had an accomplished career in diplomacy. She served at the Embassy of Haiti in Washington, D.C., and in Belgium, and played a key role in negotiating Haiti's accession to the Lomé Convention, a trade and aid agreement between the European Union and African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries aimed at fostering economic development. As Secretary of State for Tourism, she led the development of Haiti's National Tourism Master Plan, Plan Directeur du Tourisme. Currently, she serves as a consultant for Royal Caribbean International and is the president of the Société Labadie Nord, SA, Solano, the company responsible for managing the port operations at Labadie Cap-Haïtien. She sits on the board of the Haitian Center for Leadership and Excellence, CLE, La Grande Fondation d'Haïti, Bracing Neighbors Haiti, and Zami La Santé. She also chairs the board of the Fondation Progrès Développement, ProDev. Maryse, thank you for your leadership and continued commitment for advancing solutions for Haitian children and families. We're honored to have you with us. The floor is yours.
For the introduction, and thank you all for being here this evening. I'm in Haiti, so communication is not good. I just wanted to let you know. I've been following education in Haiti for more than 30 years, and education has always been part of my life because my father was deeply involved and was an educator himself. I can honestly say that this is the hardest moment I've ever seen for our schools and our children. Thousands of schools are closed, families are displaced, and yet the need for learning has never been greater. Withza was founded on a simple belief that every child deserves access to a good education, no matter the circumstance. Even in crisis, educators and communities are finding ways to keep hope and learning alive. And that is what brings us together today. We must think of Haiti's children, wherever they are in the world, including those in the US who are living with fear about what will happen in the very near future with TPS and their sites. This conversation is a starting point, and it will take us all, and it will take all of us working together. Thank you for being part of this moment. Thank you, Dave, and back to you. Thank you, everybody, for making the time to attend this conversation. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Maryse. We're also honored to have a distinguished panel of speakers to guide tonight's discussion. We have with us first Nedgine Deroly, co-founder and CEO of Anseye for Haiti. Originally from Haiti, Nedgine has over 20 years of career experience in the education sector, with a focus on instructional excellence, curriculum implementation, and leadership development. She earned a BA in history from Yale College and an EDM in international education policy from the Harvard Graduate School of Education. She was named among the top global social innovators by Echoing Green, among the Forbes magazine 30 under 30 social entrepreneurs, and among the inaugural Obama Foundation Fellowship for her work leading Anseye for Haiti, APA, a movement to equip a new generation of Haitian civic leaders for educational justice in Haiti. APA will equip 50,000 civic leaders working together to transform schools and communities by re-Haitianization and redefining true leadership as rooted in collective action. We also have with us Alain Germain, Education Manager for ProDev. Alain holds a master's degree in history and a bachelor's degree in social sciences from the École Normale Supérieure de l'Université d'État d'Haïti. He has many years of experience in the management of educational projects with several international organizations. Deeply committed to Haiti, he believes that the key to development is found in our capacity to dialogue and to seek endogenous solutions. This is the same philosophy he transmits to students, teachers, school directors, parents, and key stakeholders involved in ProDev's initiatives. At ProDev, he oversees the implementation and coordination of all the educational activities across schools and projects. Next, we have with us Garçon, Education Cluster Coordinator and Technical Advisor in Education for Save the Children. She has over 9 years of experience in the education sector. She previously served as a monitoring officer and pedagogical support officer, where she was responsible for teacher training and the development of pedagogical tools for classroom use. Driven by a deep passion for education, she has a particular interest in alternative approaches and in promoting innovative methods tailored to children's needs. In her current role, she provides strategic support in the preparation of projects for donors and ensures the quality of implementation of educational activities. She also plays a key role in strengthening team capacities, coordinating with partners, and promoting innovative pedagogical practices aimed at improved aimed at improving children's learning outcomes. She holds a bachelor's degree in preschool and primary education from Université Quisqueya in Haiti, and a master's degree in psychopedagogy from the Université de Montréal in Canada. We also have with us Dr. Withza Laurin-Nibbs, educator and board member of the Association of Haitian Educators of Florida. Dr. Withza Laurin-Nibbs is a distinguished counselor, educator, and TEDx Miramar coach and nonprofit founder whose career is rooted in a calling to restore hope and elevate human potential. Her academic and professional expertise encompasses human development, family systems, and emotional wellness fields, to which she channels a unique blend of clinical knowledge and spiritual insight. Her work is defined by a holistic, purpose-driven approach that transcends conventional boundaries. As a school counselor and founder of nonprofits focused on healing the effects of incarceration on families, Dr. Laurin-Nibbs operates at the intersection of advocacy, mentorship, and prophetic service. Guided by a philosophy that education is both a liberatory and sacred act, she facilitates spaces for reflection, growth, and alignment. Her influence extends beyond measurable outcomes to a higher purpose of elevation, restoration, and sustained transformation. And finally, we have with us Inge Vervloesem, Chief of Education for UNICEF in Haiti. Inge Vervloesem is the current Chief of Education for UNICEF in Haiti, with extensive experience across 3 continents in fragile and development contexts. She has served in senior leadership and technical roles with UNICEF and other organizations, including as Chief of Education in Haiti and Mali, and as an education specialist in the West and Central Africa Regional Office, and the Eastern and Southern Africa Regional Office, where she supported, among others, sector reform and governance, education and emergencies, ICT and education, and large-scale program coordination. She holds a master's degree in applied economics, a diploma in development, a postgraduate master in statistics, and a teaching qualification for secondary and tertiary education. Deeply committed to lifelong learning and personal development, she brings a reflective and people-centered leadership approach to her work. Thank you again for joining us all today. Let's dive into our discussion and begin with our first question. Our first question is for Inge. Can you tell us a bit about UNICEF's work in Haiti, especially how you're supporting children displaced by violence and disruptions to their education?
Okay. Thank you so much, Dave, and thank you to ProDev for inviting me to this very important discussion today. So I'm very happy to be with you. So for UNICEF, our mandate are the most vulnerable children. And we work in different sectors. We work in education, child protection, in water and sanitation, health and nutrition. What is important is that we combine all those sectors because it's the child who is really at the center of everything we do. So in terms of education, we work in development, so more long-term programs, and especially and as well in the humanitarian context. And here in Haiti, our dedication is mainly to this humanitarian context. So we work on, for instance, increasing access to education. We have projects to identify where are the children that are not in school, where are the children that have disabilities, and try to bring them back to school. We also support the system with training of teachers, with governance. But our really core at the moment is working in education in emergency. And you asked about what does UNICEF do for the children in the zones that have been affected by the violence. So we know that really the biggest violence is in Port-au-Prince, and a lot of the families have gone more to the south and to the center. So we work at different levels. Let me speak about Port-au-Prince to start with. In Port-au-Prince, we do our best to support the EduPol, which is the community police. So it's a part of the PNH that is really supporting education. and we have supported them to strengthen them so that they can ensure that children go safely to school. When we work with the children that are displaced, some of the children are then in IDP sites and others are on the move or are with host communities. So one of the first things we do is to organize psychosocial support. UNICEF last year only, supported more than 200,000 children with psychosocial support. And I think it's something at the core and really, really needed for what we offer. We also offer support to families. When a family loses everything, yet still has the heart for education, we need to see how to support those families. And one of the ways is to do cash transfers and also to give supplies to children. Another very important element in our work is to support the sector. So what happens when, for instance, I'll give another example. There was an attack in Mirabale and a lot of the families went to Ange. What does it mean for the community in Ange? All of a sudden, there were schools that were being used to give shelter to the people that are displaced. So those children then need to find an alternative. We help both the children who are displaced because they need an alternative, and we also help the schools that then will receive the children that have come there. We also look at what can be an alternative, but here we still have a lot of work to do. So the government in Haiti has set up Radio Télévision Éducative. So a lot of resources for the radio and television. UNICEF is supporting the government in really being able to use that RTE full-fledged. However, there we still have a long way to go. A last thing that I would like to say is another support we give to students in those areas is also non-formal education. We all know that not everybody goes to formal education. There is also non-formal education. And we believe that many of them, what they're really looking for is, how do I get a job? So then we offer courses for them to learn a craft so that immediately afterwards they can integrate. Just to close, I think what's most important is to give the support financially and in kind, and as well with psychosocial support so that the children really feel nurtured and feel supported and learn how to deal with their emotions, to go through the trauma and to really process that trauma. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you so much, Inge. And our next question is for Rastel. What do you see as the main pedagogical, linguistic, psychosocial, and structural challenges faced by children who are schooled in the US when they must transition into Haiti's already fragile education system?
Merci en pile de pour question. Bonsoir tout le monde. Je devais c'était la moi c'est Rastal. Rapidement m'a répondre une question de Vla sous challenge que Timoun Sao qui capable bien possibilité pour retourner rapatrier en Haïti capable confronter. Premièrement sous point pédagogique, donc c'est dans différents niveaux. Donc yo gen pour faire face à des différences en termes de contenu. Déjà contenu c'est pas notamment matière de base mais c'est surtout ça nous les connaissances générales tant que sciences sociales, histoire parce que mathématiques ou bien français, bon, dit français langue en général, il y aurait été même notion que Timon apprendre, il y aurait été même d'un pays à l'autre. Gain tout, il va faire face à des difficultés en termes de méthode d'enseignement. Nous connaissons que en Haïti depuis très longtemps, il y a un pile monde qui fait un pile effort justement pour ça ne fait qu'à dire update toute question méthode d'enseignement n'a pu utiliser pour apprendre Timon yo. Mais il y a un pile monde tout qui toujours utiliser méthode que nous a dit bat par cœur. Donc Timon yo très habitué à faire des bails pratiques et qu'on y a là on va rentrer dans un système qui a demandé pour battre par cœur des méthodes que pas forcément habitué ensemble avec lui. Sous point pédagogique là, ces difficultés ça moi ouais au capable rencontrer. Sous question linguistique là, bon parce que son bail qui évident, c'est-à-dire que ti moun yo à la base, yo parle anglais, donc yo pral rentrer dans un pays qui parle créole et français, notamment système éducatif là. Gen un pile effort qui fait pour yo mettre tout système enseignement en créole. Nous gen ministère qui fait livre unique. Gen quelques écoles qui utilisent elle, mais c'est pas forcément toute l'école qui utilise livre unique là. Donc, et même le tout, dans série de l'école, enseignement yo bat pour yo faire en créole, mais livre là, li rete en français. Donc, ti moun sa, li pral besoin faire un apprentissage, pas seulement de créole là, parce que en pile yo m'pense, yo plus ou moins parler créole, mais yo pas konn li créole, et français a son bagay qui tout à fait nouveau pour ti moun yo. Donc, c'est tout un apprentissage à part que ti moun sa yo pral faire face à yo. En termes structurels, moi, je pense que actuellement, par rapport à la crise que nous déjà confrontée, donc, nous avons une réduction de capacité d'accueil dans l'école. Déplacement en pile l'école fermée et il y a un pile ti moun qui déjà déscolarisé par rapport à la situation ça et que kounya nous pral vinn gen une vague ti moun qui rentre qui peut-être pas besoin de place dans l'école yo parce que c'est pas tout parent et automatiquement que yo rentre yo gen doit pas gen possibilité financière pour yo scolariser ti moun sa yo dans de l'école privée et nous connaît l'école l'État yo vraiment très gen faible capacité d'accueil. Donc ti moun sa yo gen pile chance pour yo faire décrochage scolaire donc leur vini dans pays ya. Yo pral faire face tout m'ka di à des problèmes psychosociaux, psychologiques pour m'ka aller plus loin. Ti moun yo pral vivre des séparations que ce soit avec zanmi yo, famille yo, mais tout yo pral vinn rentrer dans un pays qui a vivre des crises, une crise que yo pas habitué avec avant. Yo toujours dit haïtien résilient, mais c'est des petits moun, donc qui pas habitué à la réalité, à même là yo habitué tande la nouvelle, mais entendre les vivre li, c'est deux bagages qui complètement différents. Donc ti moun sa yo gen pour yo faire deux adaptations. Premièrement, par rapport à la séparation, yo quitté routine, etc. Et adapter yo m'ka di à réalité haïtienne. Donc, c'est comme ça, Dave, moi, je pense que je vais répondre à la question là. Merci beaucoup.
Merci un pile Rassal pour réponse ça. Our next question now is for Dr. Withza Laurin-Nibbs. Can you describe what U.S. classrooms are like for children, how they're taught, how they participate, and how learning usually happens?
Thank you for that question, Dave. In the US, the classroom is mostly active and collaborative learning, and it's a whole child learning system. So therefore, participation and interaction is mandatory within the classroom. And parents, compared to Haiti, parents are needed. It's a two-way street in the US system education, and the parents really have the say-so in the school system. And the parents can ask for IEPs if the child has a learning disability. They can ask for hearing or vision screening if they feel like the child needs glasses, or there's a lot of resources that the US education provides once the child is qualified for those resources. And it's a cooperative learning setting and also group work, along with teamwork. And they focus on a classroom culture with community. For instance, I'm in Miami and we do celebrate Haitian Flag Day. And so it's like a community, depending on the area that you're in. We have Hispanic Heritage Month. So they're celebrating their culture as to bring, awareness of tradition, and to say, hey, although you're not in Haiti, we recognize that you're here. I speak Creole, but my Creole is not that because I came from Haiti when I was 5 years old. So I learned to speak Creole from the children from Haiti. and the parents. I picked Creole back up because of my interaction with the families that I interact with every day. So the culture in the United States, the Haitian culture, we're trying to implement it within the curriculum of the United States because they have the ESOL classes, which is English as a second language, and they have interpreters for them if they need assistance in any subject area, especially in the language arts classes. Thank you for that question.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Withza Laurin-Nibbs, for this answer. Our next question is for Nedgine Paul Deroly. And beyond schools, what are the key components families need to look for to ensure children are set up for success during the integration process?
Thank you, Dave. And thank you again to PODEV and HRC for this opportunity. I appreciate this question because it's so relevant to what Anseye pour Haiti is all about, and the work that we do to equip civic leaders who believe that the solutions and assets, many of them already exist in Haiti, and yet we need a new generation of leaders who are using these local assets to make sure all kids get what they deserve and the quality education they deserve. So this question for me reminds me about APA, Anseye pour Haiti's commitment to holistic care. Because what we know is that the importance of our work with teachers, school principals, parents, and students surpasses the four walls of a classroom. That's why we call them teacher leaders. We know that the importance of quality teaching, that importance will carry over to what teachers can do in their neighborhoods and across their communities. So for me, this question reminds me about the importance of a community deep approach. And I would encourage all those who are now in this really difficult moment of potential repatriation or integration back into Haiti to think about what it would look like to tap into networks that exist, that prioritize holistic care of kids and a community deep approach. Because if we're only looking at teachers, the entire work cannot be done by teachers. The entire work cannot be done only by religious leaders. We really need to think about cross-sector partnerships. And so I wanted to highlight maybe three components, three strategies to how maybe families can be thinking and preparing. And I think what I'll share highlights that there's a lot of positive work happening across Haiti. Anseye pour Haiti is what I know best. That's the team I'm a part of. But many people in this panel are representing the powerfully positive, brilliant work happening across Haiti. Number one, I think we need to prioritize mental health supports, right? Academics are always important, but are we focused on the kids' mental, emotional well-being? As Gastal mentioned, they're entering into a traumatic situation and into a local context of crisis. And so try to think about the schools and the teachers who are not just focused on academics and academic achievement, but are also using words like care, joy, love. All of that is important. For us at Anseye pour Haiti, we've said we need to name trauma, define it, and then find the local resources who help our teachers know how to help kids. For example, a team of local psychologists and social workers called La Ressource that exists and works across Port-au-Prince, but also en province, in the provinces, to try to help teachers and parents understand depression, trauma, anxiety, all of those pieces, which I think is going to be very important. So look for the teachers and educators, not just talking about academics, but holistic care. The second strategy I wanted to highlight is parent leadership. We focus so much on the children, as we should, but I think all parents would agree you cannot pour from an empty cup. And so what are we thinking about to help the parents? Anseye pour Haiti has invested in hundreds of parent leaders because we realize parents and educators need to be partners. And so I would suggest that we start to think about how parents who may have to move back or reintegrate into Haiti, who are their peers? Who are the guardians and peers that can help them also be well, take care of themselves, focus on their mental, emotional, financial, employment needs? The third piece I wanted to mention is this word I've mentioned a couple of times, networks. I think one of the things that's been beautiful in the last 10 and 15 years across Haiti is the encouragement to work collaboratively. Instead of one organization here, one school here, one church here, more and more there's a push for collaborative leadership, shared strategies, shared solutions. And so I would encourage many of you to think about where are the networks so that I'm not just trying to work with the school to take care of all of my needs, but tapping into places such as Anseye Ayiti that works with 133 partner schools who each of them are contributing towards the solution. We believe in that proverb because that's what cares and that's what matters. And so let's continue to share contact information, resources, strategies, instead of thinking one team or one person can bring all of the supports. The last thing I'll mention is the 3 strategies I just highlighted. A lot of them are already happening in communities that have had to absorb and take in students who had to leave the Dominican Republic, who had to leave Brazil, who had to leave Chile. We've had this tough experience before. Let's learn from prior experience and hopefully elevate the solutions. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you so much, Nedgine, for these wonderful insights. And our next question is for Inge. If the February 3rd scenario were to take effect, what educational support could ProDev provide to the affected children? Ellen, we're not hearing you. I'm not sure if you're on mute. Ellen, I believe you're on mute.
Sorry, effectivement, moi, j'étais sur mute. Merci Dave pour question. Moi, je pense que au niveau pour Dave, par rapport à différents défis que notamment Rastal t'a mentionné tout à l'heure, qui pourrait joindre Timoun Sayo, qui pourrait gagner pour venir intégrer un nouveau système et déjà qui charge complexité que l'IT gagne déjà et qui pourrait faire que nous pourrons aborder de nouvelles considérations. Donc, pour Dev, c'est vrai que pour Dev, il y a un système éducatif qui est chapeauté sous 4 dynamiques, 4 approches pédagogiques qui corrèlent avec le programme du ministère de l'Éducation nationale. Mais par-dessus tout, nous pensons que les aspects transversaux sont aussi bien importants dans la question apprentissage. Et avec des petits monde qui sont dans un système éducatif, côté il y a un ensemble d'accès que vous gagnez. Donc, et déjà, par rapport à notre situation actuelle, que vous connaissez de 80% l'école pays d'Haïti, c'est l'école privée. Et dans des écoles publiques, pas gain vraiment de dispositif qui là pour permettre que une éducation qui mariée avec des standards internationaux. Donc, au niveau ProDev, par rapport à notre programme d'éducation et par rapport à des écoles, parce que normalement, ProDev vient des écoles, nous essayons de marier différents contextes comme permettre que élèves, les 1500 élèves que nous avons desservis au niveau de la République qui n'ont fait partie du programme, nous attaquer la question de la technologie, nous attaquer la question de psychosocial, nous attaquer la question d'émotion, nous attaquer la question de la formation des enseignants, la question de la formation des directeurs d'école, le leadership du directeur, la question de la responsabilisation, pardon, des parents également dans la vie de l'école. Donc, accompagnement nous, c'est surtout un accompagnement technique. Parce que là, on a parlé de mécanismes que nous mettons en place pour une sphère très réduite. Mais là, on a son contexte qui est beaucoup plus large, son bagage qui est beaucoup plus macro, qui doit interpeller toute la société. qui doit interpeller tous les opérateurs du secteur, les professionnels du secteur de l'éducation, mais il faut qu'il y ait davantage de politique publique dans ce domaine. Là, nous gagnons ça me décabré assez sous clou, côté que, surtout, même la question l'offre scolaire. Donc, nous avons tout cas de déperdition, tout cas de déscolarisation, c'est des milliers de cas. Maintenant, c'est vrai qu'il n'y a pas qu'on gagne de chiffres exacts, mais déjà, on parle de 50 000 à 100 000 personnes qui prennent la situation pour y scolariser et pour y rentrer à l'école, pardon. Et donc, le budget de l'État haïtien, c'est vrai qu'il y a des efforts qui sont faits pour l'enveloppe du ministère de l'Éducation nationale. Donc, nous allons trouver nous dans une situation pour que nous fassions en sorte que nous augmenter l'offre scolaire. Déjà, nous avons une capacité par rapport à toute disparité qui est là. Maintenant, qui dit augmentation offre scolaire, c'est dit augmentation salle de classe, c'est dit augmentation mobilier, formation des enseignants, la question du salaire, tout ça. Donc, ProDev, au niveau ProDev, c'est faire continuité par rapport à ça nous-mêmes que nous œuvrer au niveau de nos interventions, faire en sorte que même dans des échanges, dans des cercles avec les structures concernées par cette question, porter davantage cette question et ouais comment ça nous gagne comme disposition technique, ça nous gagne comme disposition pédagogique, comment nous partager avec de l'autre entité, de l'autre structure dans le système pour permettre que effectivement gagner une intégration automatique de ces enfants au niveau de notre système scolaire. Et là, ça va demander tout un ensemble de mécanismes qui est supposé mettre en place et les enseignants dans les salles de classe, ils vont jouer un rôle fondamental dans la question ça. Mais est-ce que les enseignants ont gagné assez de bagages techniques pour cerner tous les paramètres ça yo, et c'est là que je pense que ProDev pourra encore une fois et porter appui technique pour permettre que nous adresser questions ça yo à différents niveaux. En tout cas, dans ça qui vient dans la possibilité technique et administrative institutionnelle. Merci.
Merci un pile légèrement. Our next question is for Dr. Withza Laurin-Nibbs. How can parents talk to their children about this transition in a way that reduces fear and build resilience even when the move isn't their choice?
Thank you for that question. As a school counselor, as Nadej said, it is important. Mental health and anxiety and depression has to be looked at closely with the parents and the children, because as a family as a whole, the kids will feel the fear of loss. They're out of control. They don't have any control about going back home. Like a lot of them, the parents are not talking to them. And communication is one of the important things that our parents sometimes didn't tell us how important communication is. They'll tell you, oh, go to your room. Go to your room. But it's important to tell them, hey, this is what we're going through. But everything is going to be okay. We're going to be together. The feeling of reducing the anxiety, it also comes from the parent. If the parent is anxious and they're not talking and they're not expressing their emotions to the kids are very smart now. They'll pick up on it. And they listen even when you think they're not listening. And they know certain things are going to happen, but the parents are not communicating with them. So they lose this sense of why nobody's not telling me anything. So sometimes their coping mechanism is to be angry and to lash out at people that has nothing to do with the situation. So it's very important that mental health and to validate their feelings. Talk to them. Hey, how are you feeling right now? What do you think about, what's going on with us? And reassure them that everything is going to be okay. Change is the common thing that we all have. Every day there's a change, and every day we learn something new. So this change, they have to sit down with them and let them know this is what we're going through. You don't have to go into details because depending on the age of the child, they're very smart. Don't shy away from telling them the truth, because when you lie to a child, it comes back for you. They will come back and say, oh, I remember you said we weren't leaving. How come we're leaving now? So be very open and gradually explain to them, this is the next thing we have to do. This is what we're going to do. And make sure you go to the schools and all your documents, get a folder and get the protector sliders and put all your documents together, because grades are important, and pictures, certain things that to help them cope with the change. It's very important, because santé mentale is just like your santé as well. If your head is not straight, your health is gonna be a problem as well. They're connected. So the mental health, to me as a school counselor, is very, very important, because they will establish the resiliency that we're looking for. But if we don't help them with coping mechanisms, positive coping mechanisms, we won't be able to move them as an adult. There's a quote that says, it's better to fix a child than to try to fix a grown adult. As an adult, it's hard to change, but a child, they learn to cope if the adult that's coping, giving them the proper coping mechanism, is aware of the mental health that is going on. I've known students that gone through the journey of coming here through Brazil and Mexico, and they've seen horrible things, and they're feeling the PTSD. And what do? They fight, or they argue with the teacher. And it's not because they want to, it's just the body is telling them, hey, something just triggered. We have to find some kind of way to survive. And at that time, it wasn't something that the teacher did or another student did to them. It's just the body is in a mode that, hey, we went through a lot, but we never had anybody to talk to. Because Haitian parents, sometimes it's hard to talk to Haitian parents. Let's be real. But we have safe space. Like AHEAD has a resource center, which is the Haitian, that we have parental involvement where we can talk to the parents, where the parents can talk about what's going on with them. I always say, women, we are the emotional controller of the house. If mommy is happy, the house is happy. And the kids feel this. And if mommy is upset, you walk in, you're like, oh, what's going on? So I say women, but men too can be the emotional controller, because if they come in angry from work or can't keep control of their emotion, the kids pick up on that as well. So as adults, the parents have to also understand the fear and uncertainty and the loss of control. It could go for any one of us. We're like, some of us are one paycheck away from losing our house, being homeless. So we have to understand that although they're moving or something is going on in the house, communicate with your child. It is very important. And to always stay calm. Staying calm, you get better results than screaming and yelling because you're anxious about the situation. You don't know. And not knowing, adding on with the anger, it's not going to get you a good result. And the kids are watching us. We're under a microscope. As a parent myself, my kids are always watching me. They learned my password for my phone and I didn't even know that. That's how close they are watching us. So as the parents, the full heart, the kids know we love them, and just show that just being proud of them, saying, you know what, I'm proud of you. We just went through a lot and you are still here and smiling. Just the word, I'm proud of you, to me is worth more than I love you, because I love you is kind of watered down when you say it too many times. But just saying I'm proud of you, meaning that you recognize I did something positive. And going through this kind of transition is very hard on the family as a whole. So yes, parents, I'm talking to the parents, but the kids feed off the parents' energy. And the mental health is the paramount part of this whole transition if they have to go back. Thank you for that question, Dave.
Thank you so much for your answer, Dr. Withza, Laurin-Nibbs. Our next question is for Inge Vervloesem of UNICEF. How can schools, community organizations, and diaspora partners best support that transition?
Okay, thank you, Dave. A critical and very difficult question. So for me, there are different levels. So before we go to the school, I would say, how can the government and the Ministry of Education at the national level support this transition? And one of the things I think will be the most difficult is the linguistic barrier. So we don't really know how many of the children who will come back to Haiti speak French or Creole. So what will happen when a child only speaks English? What kind of programs will be offering in the school? And I commit to tabling this with the Minister of Education when I will see him next, to see if there are some policies that we can put in place. For instance, if an exam can be taken in another language, can there be like organizations who support to have language courses for the children to support them? Because I think the language can really be an issue. So when we go down to the school, how can the school support? I think another issue that we might have is stigmatization and a lot of question. So then the school, the parent teachers, the school committee, and also the communities can support that, also to prepare the teachers. How do you deal with children in the classroom when they start questioning, when they start judging, when perhaps when they speak badly about something? So how, as a teacher, do you deal with those things? And I think there is, at the school level, but also at the district level, we need to see what kind of capacity building, what kind of support can we give to the teachers for that. Another component that I think, and I love how different panelists have already spoken about it, for instance, Rastal, Nedgine, Dr. Withza, all have spoken about psychosocial support. And I think for me, this is the most important thing. And that is at the level of the school, at the level of national, at the levels of community, that we all come together to really support the child to go through the transition, and not just as a one-off thing, but really be vigilant. Like how does it happen in the day-to-day school days of the kids, to have a listening ear? What are children telling each other, and to influence that? Also to use it in the classroom as examples. I'm a big ambassador of what we call transferable skills. And transferable skills are skills like empathy, collaboration, negotiation, and you can integrate that in your curriculum. For instance, I can teach you mathematics really dry, or I can teach you mathematics in a way that you have empathy for the student next to you who doesn't understand what we're talking about. So every single situation can be used to comfort students and to bring the best out in them. And I think a lot of sensitization of the teachers, of the community, of the directors. Another thing is also the parents, to prepare them mentally Can we perhaps set up systems where parents can come together, that we create a community of those parents to have support from each other and learn from each other? How do you deal with that? My child was told this, what did you say? Also to encourage them to listen to the children. And something I also absolutely love, to really, it's part of the personal development of the student, to, even when he or she is being criticized, to really go within and see what is true for me. So there are so many aspects, counseling actually, where we can really support the children. A last component I would say is, and I think mainly of the diaspora for that, is financial support. So are there ways that we can set up more structured ways that parents who really need support can come to? We all know that in Haiti, 80% of the schools are private schools. We all know that education is very expensive in Haiti, and especially preschool, actually. Not logical, but that's really the reality of it. So how can the diaspora come together to support the families who are truly in need? I think there is a lot that we can think how to co-create between diaspora organizations, schools. So a lot to think about it. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you, Inge, for this very insightful answer. So our last question is for Garçon. What priority actions does the education cluster recommend to ensure an inclusive, protective, and sustainable school transition for repatriated children, particularly regarding planning, support to schools, and engagement with the Ministry of Education and partners?
Merci pour question. En fait, moi, je pense qu'il y a des panélistes par rapport à la question qui déjà fait plusieurs interventions qui un petit peu répondent à la question déjà en tant que Nedgine qui t'a fait une belle intervention. Et parce que ça, c'est un point qui est important sous question réseautage là. Réseautage là, il est très important. Moi-même, m'apprends surtout dans le cadre de coordination, dans le cadre de rôle, moi tout, comme coordonnatrice. C'est-à-dire que, yon bagay nous fait dans coordination éducation en situation d'urgence, parce que nous d'accord, c'est à une situation d'urgence, que nous pral gen une vague moun ka privé, il faut que nous encadrer yo. Donc, yon travail nous fait, c'est vraiment mettre partenaires yo en relation yon avec l'autre. Parce que, non même espace, plusieurs partenaires qui doivent faire même bagay là, et ça, c'est un gaspillage de ressources qui pas nécessaire, en fait. Parce que nous déjà pas gain assez de ressources. Donc, vraiment, les nous mettez partenaires, discuter ensemble, travailler ensemble. Donc, ça permet d'éviter gaspillage de ressources, ça, pointer tout du doigt, qui côté, dans qui espace, qui gagne des petits moun qui en nécessité, des familles qui en nécessité, pour en l'appuyer au lieu tout le monde regrouper au un seul côté. Et donc, nous-mêmes, à travers coordination cluster, donc c'est un travail et c'est un objectif cluster gagné comme premier rôle et PAL. Deuxièmement, Inge tout souligné appui financier pour parents yo. Parce que, elle se dit tout, 80% de l'école yo privé. Et je dis ça avant, l'école publique n'a pas de capacité pour accueillir tout le monde. Et moi, je pense qu'à un certain moment donné, que nous avons obligé peut-être, pour des qui ont expérience dans ça, fait de l'école dans le quartier pour nous soutenir Timounio. Parce que, il pral quand même demander Timounio faire une sorte de transition. Est-ce que, donc, c'est des classes, nous avons les passerelles, en attendant que Timoun arrive intégré, et ça, il va demander justement que communauté, c'est pas seulement l'école, mais communauté, parents, enseignants en communauté, famille, yon soutenir l'autre justement pour nous mettre en place des classes passerelles pour Timoun ça en attendant que yo réussi intégrer système. Ça demande tout que partenaires en dehors de coordination, même nous travaillons avec le ministère, mais vraiment travail de façon très serrée. Très souvent, actuellement, nous avons des cours de rattrapage qui fait petit monde qui déplace, mais nous pas vraiment connaît contenu coup de rattrapage ça yo. Qui ça ou gen là-dedans yo? Et ti moun ça yo appelé à intégrer système scolaire à un moment donné. Donc faut que nous mettions d'accord, voilà. Ti moun ça qui gen tel niveau, qui contenu là pour est-ce que nous va faire des cours accélérés pour ti moun ça des travail avec le ministère pour nous mettre en place un programme. Le ministère a déjà travaillé sur des programmes, un programme qui est adapté à ti moun catégorie ti moun rapatrié ça parce que yo pas de ti moun déplacé. Donc voilà comment yo capable dans classe passerelle ça une fois que yo fin fait yo que yo intégrer directement dans l'école yo. Question ça tout moi pense li important c'est question validation des acquis parce que lorsque notre système pour entrer dans l'autre et li pas évident. Donc, il faut que nous réfléchissions tous sur question qui j'en nous pral valider compétences ti moun yo te déjà apprendre gen yo dans système scolaire haïtien et qui j'en justement nous pral évaluer. Ensuite, un dernier point moi te vle avancer, c'est que moi pense que c'est un bon moment pour nous faire un plaidoyer, encourager question apprentissage dans la langue créole là. Parce que justement, nous allons trouver nous dans une situation côté que un pile, même si tout le monde pas parler, genre, Dr. Withza se dit là même, lui-même, il levé l'autre bord, il pas parler créole, mais il plus facile parce que environnement ti moun nan c'est créole li parle. Donc, moi, je pense que c'est une bonne opportunité pour nous faire une sorte de plaidoyer et encourager et soutenir tout effort ministère à faire pour justement faire apprentissage dans la langue maternelle. Donc, moi-même, c'est ça mon invité parce que je pense qu'il y a différents panélistes qui font des interventions déjà. Merci beaucoup, Dave.
Merci un pile Rastal, and thank you to all of our other panelists for a rich and enlightening discussion. We will now transition to our Q&A session, and I will begin sharing questions from the audience. So one of the first questions that we got is in Haitian Creole. So I'll go ahead and read it in Haitian Creole, and our interpreters will translate it. Qui ça nous considérer comme plus grand handicap pour un petit monde qui sorti États-Unis pour arriver intégrer système éducation haïtien et qui trois réponses à court terme nous doit bailler comme réponse. Par contre, si peut-être Nedgine ou bien Rastal, Erlin.
Ouais.
Il est ma réponse, merci Dave.
Oui, moi je kabay. Et si vous permettez moi et Dave, moi cap peut-être bay surtout défi qui a gagné dans l'intégration, peut-être l'autre panéliste il a complété qui ça yo kabay comme élément de réponse. Moi je pense que un premier problème qui est capable de gagner c'est organisation système scolaire chaque pays yo. Donc si monde qui sorti aux États-Unis avec bon sinon on était surtout de kindergarten à high school, bon on nous prend et par exemple middle school là, ça nous peut-être dit qui compatible avec école fondamentale en Haïti. Donc, supposons qu'on a dit pour un petit monde qui sorti dans niveau ça, ou dit intégrer li dans l'école fondamentale. Maintenant, c'est essayer de garder compatibilité qui gagne au niveau des programmes. Est-ce que le programme qui requis pour middle school là, c'est le même programme ça tout qui requis pour l'école fondamentale. À ce moment-là, donc, plus grosse difficulté qui pourrait gagner, c'est non seulement compatibilité de programme, et de compétences, etc. Donc, continuité pédagogique là, il peut pas faire effectivement. Donc, c'est pas une question c'est pas le fait de mettre Timounio dans la salle de classe qui pourra le faire continuité pédagogique, mais il faut qu'il y ait une échelle de progression réelle qui fait de façon ordonnée en dans même continuité. Donc là, c'est un problème sérieux qui pourra le poser. Donc, comment intégrer un Timoun qui sorti de un niveau scolaire à un niveau soi-disant qui même et que finalité démarche en termes de compétences qui requises, en termes de programme qui requis, mais yo distinct. Là, je pense que c'est plus gros problème et c'est plus gros souci que nous pral gagner. Et là, vraiment, il faut que gagne de dispositifs très techniques qui pour adresser questions ça bien que et gagne des systèmes éducatifs, tout comme par exemple le Canada, surtout au Québec, ça, lui-même, plus ou moins transition académique là, li fait plus ou moins facile, peu importe le système scolaire, peu importe le niveau académique. Mais là, il fallait vraiment que nous joignons une conceptualisation de questions. Nous ne connaissons pas si dans l'autre panéliste qui peut-être qu'à aborder même Nedgine peut-être voulait bailler réponse à qui ça nous a fait par rapport à ça.
Merci un pile, Erlen. Bon bagay, vraiment apprécié réponse ou. Seul ajout moi te vle bay, c'est important pour nous préparer même communauté yo, l'autre élève qui gen en Haïti. Parce que gen plusieurs panélistes yo qui mentionné important support culturel, social, économique. Mais même pendant n'a parlé de monde qui a fait transition, qui a essayé de repatrier, mais est-ce que nous parlons avec l'autre petit monde pour connaître que tous ses amis, tout petit monde qui a venu, nous qui peut-être beaucoup bien parler créole, peut-être qui paraît d'une façon différente. Au lieu que nous taquiner farouché, est-ce que nous avons aidé élèves, familles, l'église, comment se préparer depuis journée jeudi? Parce que ça, c'est l'autre aspect, nous n'avons pas même besoin de temps pour nous voir ça qui a passé. Niveau préparation, ça a commencé depuis Kounia.
Merci un peu, Nedgine. Je connais pour quitter nous dans quelques minutes, donc je vais tout profiter pour vous remercier pour présence avec nous et à souhait. So I was just saying that Nedgine will be leaving us in a few minutes. So thank you, Nedgine, for being with us tonight. I'll move on now to some of the other questions that we have. How can families, well, let me see. This one was sort of answered, so I'll go on to another one. What about children with special needs, especially? How can we really make sure that they're truly accommodated into the Haitian education system?
I'll take that question. I think that with children with special need, it's very, very important that the documentations that you have with your child, say if it's autism or it's a learning disability or any kind of disability, to have that information at hand with you when you go to Haiti. And the parents right now, they can do a proactive situation where they can keep printout of information about their child needs, and they can implement it at home, especially autism. They have a lot of information. They have books, Amazon online, and the parent can really educate themselves about the child's need if in Haiti they are unable to get that services that they were getting here in the United States. So now the parent is going to be the one that's taking that initiative to learn about the child's need that they have, their special needs that they have. It's not just, send them to school and the school going to provide the services. Now the parent has to be educated, and they have like the social media. I know Haiti doesn't have good Wi-Fi, but they do have social media groups for different type of special needs that they can interact with and get more information on how they can help the child while they're in Haiti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Withza, Laurin-Nibbs. And I have to say, like, the Wi-Fi can be good sometimes. I'm in Haiti right now.
Okay, but certain part is difficult to get the Wi-Fi going.
No, I definitely agree. It was just a joke. So another question that we have is, this one is in Creole. So I'll read it in Creole. Nan ka kote yon déportation fait Britsoukou, sorti États-Unis pour entrer à Haïti, et puis parents pas de possibilité pour récupérer documents l'école Timoun nan, qui démarche personnelle ou soit bon côté organisme, parents ça capable faire pour des petites li river intégrer l'école en Haïti, qui considéré niveau académique. Est-ce que y a un programme équivalence classe pour Timoun sa yo qui vient pour entrer en Haïti?
Ok, donc après une question ça, ok, monsieur mentionné ça tout à l'heure, jusqu'à présent, nous pas un programme d'équivalence en Haïti, mais par rapport à la situation de monde qui déplacé yo, notamment une plaidoyer que nous faisons auprès de partenaires yo. Et surtout nous gagnons un système actuellement côté certes gain organisation internationale yo qui dans zone yo mais un ancrage local travaille de plus en plus avec des organisations qui locales qui travaillent dans la communauté qui possède Simona et ça facilite dialogue pour justement l'école là li comprendre situation qui rive ti moun yo. Parce que les ti moun yo déplacé, ça arrive que yo perdu tout papier, soit parce que yo boule kala ou bien yo pas de temps récupérer papier ça ou. Donc c'est pas une situation qui nouveau pour ti moun rapatrié yo seulement. C'est une situation tout qui concerne ti moun déplacé actuellement en Haïti. Et donc ça nous fait très souvent c'est que nous encourager partenaires yo parce que c'est bail qui existait même genre n'importe ti moun qui saute dans l'autre l'école, même les vini avec carnet scolaire là, yo fait le pas son examen. Donc ça c'est moyen qui plus facile pour justement mesurer acquisition ti moun ça fait niveau ti moun ça et qui permettent justement que on intègre ti moun ça dans salle de classe. Bien sûr, c'est une situation et leur comme ça nous encourager le partenaire la gen ancrage local, li faciliter justement et gen confiance dans information que li a transmettre li a. Donc c'est ça nous encourager et c'est des bagailles qui rive fait que des ti moun qui sans papier actuellement, yo pas gen carnet, Baptiste perdu, etc. réussi réintégrer système scolaire là à cause justement échange et puis compréhension tout parce que une bail qui est très important c'est que nous tous ces haïtiens problème nan concerne nous toutes donc c'est pas une réalité qui nous film c'est une réalité actuelle que nous tous à vivre justement. Merci.
Merci un pile et Rastal. Nous avons l'autre question là qui était déjà abordée un petit peu, mais m'a posé quand même. Et moi, penser aspect langue nan, doit prendre en compte côté là pour recevoir quelques petits monde qui pas comprendre que là bien, ni parler le tout. Et, mais qui mécanisme qui a mis en place pour petit moun yo apprendre dans la langue créole haïtienne?
Euh, Est-ce que c'est pour votre question, puis c'est vrai que tu fait intervention sur ça? En fait, oui, pour question. En fait, même gens, généralement, là, on moun déplacé, là où sont haïtiens, les petits moun yo pi petit, li pi facile pour intégrer, mais le petit moun nan commence à un certain âge, petit moun nan li obligé gon soit un moun qui a fait traduction pour lui dans classe là, nous connaissons Haïti pas bien tout appui ça, mais que ti moun à l'école pour l'apprendre langue là. Donc, et moi-même en réalité, moi pensais que nous pas obligé de faire des classes spéciales. Même gentil moun après l'arrivée États-Unis là apprendre parler anglais. Donc là, l'elvin Haïti, il va l'obliger à apprendre parler français. Qu'on y a qui jeune pral intégrer, est-ce que c'est des classes nous va le faire dans l'après-midi, ça aurait les et cours après classe là ou bien c'est un moment donné que ti moun nan pral prend avant que li réintégrer dans l'école formelle et modalité à bon nous ka toujours étudier puis profondément même penser ça qui est important c'est que ti moun nan la gen un moment quand même pour lui apprendre langue là quitte le créole quitte le français et de toute façon nous gain de langue me penser c'est ça qui va arriver. Ouais, merci.
Merci un pile Rastal. Et nous avons l'autre question qui est
Je crois que
abordée.
Inge voulait,
Yeah.
voulais.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to add something to what Rastal was saying. Most of our children now have phones, yeah, smartphones, and there are apps on the phone to learn a language. So perhaps it's also good to be proactive and see if some French can be started to make the transition a bit easier for the children when they arrive. That it's not completely fresh, but that they get used to it a little bit. Just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Inge. On l'autre question que nous gagnons, qui traite sous question santé mentale là tout. Dans le contexte côté gain pile ti moun qui est affecté, par exemple pile l'argent et par exemple pile aide, qui deux ou soit trois actions pratiques nous ka mettre en place tout de suite avec outils nous déjà gagnés pour supporter santé mentale ti moun qui affecté par rapatriation et TPS.
I'll take that question. before, what I'm reiterating. Communication, talk to your kids. Don't judge them if they say, oh, I don't want to go back. And you have to, okay, give me a reason, have a dialogue with them and communicate with them on the feeling that they're feeling and acknowledge the feeling. Don't just say, oh, we're just going to pray about it. Or I don't want to talk to you right now. Acknowledge that feeling because it's coming from somewhere, because when we don't know something, anxiety creeps in, depression creeps in, and that blocks growth. So communication with the child is very, very important, no matter what age. And there's a level of communication where I can communicate with a 3-year-old at their age, where color and dream about how it would be like in Haiti. Or middle school. Okay, give me a rap song that you can relate to of what it's going to be like when you go to Haiti. Just preparing them of it's not going to be that bad. It's just another place where we have to move, just like we move different homes sometimes, because we have to move. The rent is over, so we have to move to another house. And so we're just going to have to get used to where the bathroom is located now, not if it's in another house. So it's the communication. And high school students, they already adapt to the American culture. So they're more likely will want to influence the kids in Haiti to, oh, I'm American, I'm not Haitian. No, but right now we have to know that we have to humble ourselves. Situations came about, and God doesn't do anything without a purpose. So there's a reason why we're here. So I would really have that communication with them. And also a lot of the churches can have groups or a conversation about being deported. At school, there are some counselors that if the child reports that they have anxiety about being deported, we do have a safe place where they can talk about it. We don't report any kids saying, oh, they're being deported. We don't do that, but we do provide them that listening ears. And I say to the parents sometimes, we have 2 ears, just listen. You have to listen twice and talk once. And that way the child have someone that they can go to communicate how they're feeling, and everything is going to be okay at the end of the day if the parent stays calm. That's the most important thing I can stress to the parents, is to stay calm. And that way the child would say, hey, my parents are handling it very well. I too can handle it very well. And that's my question, the answer to that question, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Withza Laurin-Nibbs. Faut m'ajouter tout que nous avons Serge Belgade qui dans le chat là, qui sont membres académiques créole haïtien, qui dit que il y a un pile matériel qui est disponible en créole pour n'importe qui monde et capable d'apprendre créole, et grammaire, dictionnaire, etc. Et académie créole haïtien là pour battre toute référence qui est nécessaire. D'accord? Donc, nous avons toujours monté sur le site internet académie créole haïtien pour prendre contact ensemble avec eux. We're supposed to close this panel in a few minutes. So our Q&A session has come to an end. So as we come to the close of today's webinar, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone who made this conversation possible. Our esteemed panelists, Dr. Withza Laurin-Nibbs, Inge Vervloesem, Rastel Garçon, et Nedgine Paul Deroly, L.A. Germain, and Miss Marie Spinet-Kedal, who shared remarks on behalf of ProDev, our interpreters, our co-hosts, ProDev and the Haiti Response Coalition, and all of you who joined us today and engaged so thoughtfully throughout the discussion. Your contributions have helped shed light on the real and human impact of TPS repatriation on children and families. Following this webinar, we'll be sharing available resources and materials with participants. including ways to stay informed, support affected families, and continue this dialogue within your communities. Once again, thank you for being part of this important conversation and for standing with children and families during this critical moment. We wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you again.